Good morning, afternoon and evening, my crazies. My name's Angela, I'm the Crazy Poppy Lady, and welcome back to today's tutorial. This is for the Jackie Jumps jumper. Okay, so before we get started today, please make sure you check the description box of this video. It's down there somewhere, just in case there are any issues with the video. If I find them past editing, which is basically now, I will write the issue, the row, and the fix all in the description box. Okay, if you think you've spotted a problem with the pattern in today's video, please pop a comment on the bottom of the video, okay, telling me what you think the issue is, and then I can check it, and if it's a problem I will of course put the problem, the solution and everything else in the description box, as I just stated I would do, and I will thank you from the top bottom of my toes. Yeah, so please don't think that you're going to upset me by saying, "Oi, you got an issue here." Okay, I'd rather you tell me. Okay, because so another problem I have with this tutorial was components of it were recorded when I had Big Bertha Mark 1. Big Bertha went, "I quit, I give up, I want to go to the graveyard in the sky for putas." So I had to get a new computer. So I've lost a couple of components in regards to this tutorial, which were the beginning section where I told you what you were going to need. So I'm going to do that now for you, but it's just going to be on screen as normal. Right, so you are going to need if you're doing the same size as me, which is a possible UK size 16 to 18. Okay, now you can also adjust this pattern to your size very easily with the stitch repeats that are spoken about within the video. Okay, so I give you lots of details in the video on how to change it to your size. But what I used was 6 balls of this gorgeous yarn here, which is Signet Boho Spirit. Now the colourway that is about behind me is Breeze. Okay, now this is absolutely gorgeous. It's very similar to the, what was it, Lion Brand have one like this, but theirs is a roving, so it goes thick and thin. This one is a DK and it's meant to be all the same thickness, meant to be. In some parts I did have a couple of thicker bits. I had one dodgy ball basically out of the 6, so I brought 6 of these, and that gave me the short sleeve equivalent that's behind my shoulder. Okay, where we go. Now I also used a 4mm hook, lots of stitch markers, scissors, darning needle and a brain cell. I think I used my brain cell up though. Now there is a written pattern that accompanies this tutorial, and it will be linked in the I button above. Okay, now that gives you access to all of the videos with the video links, which means that you can jump ahead of anybody that's just doing this tutorial along with the everybody else on the channel. If you want to jump ahead, it means if you grab that pattern from up there, it's over on the Ravelry shop, you get your links and you get your directions on how to size it and all that other yarny goodness that's within the pattern. I would absolutely love to see your WIP as you're working along with the pattern with me, and I would also love to see your completed item, whether you're wearing it or not. Okay, so please send me a photograph so that I can show off either your WIP or your completed item on a future WIPs, Bits and Chat. Doesn't matter when you get round to making it, send me the picture. Right, so let's bring the jumper a little closer for you to see, so then I can explain it a little bit for you. Right, so the tutorial today will start with you making this front panel, okay, and we'll take it all the way up and you need to work out where you want your arms to your arm slits to start. That is where you stop working this panel, and then you start working on the divided section for the V-neck. Once we've completed that, we are then going to work on to our back panel. So here's the back panel. Now the back panels are nice and easy. It is all double crochet, but we're going to use the same method to start with both panels, okay, which I'll talk you through in a moment, and there's extra videos in the I button over there. Okay, but take notice of the pattern because it does change slightly for the last couple of rows. Okay, so to make sure that they match up lovely. Then we are going to join the panels along the seams here. There's a cheeky trick there because this yarn likes to felt, so we won't be sewing the seams on this one unless of course you're using a different yarn. Then if you choose to sew the seams you can, but I found that this yarn does felt, so I've got a cheeky trick for you there which will give you a really nice neat seam. You can't really see it, I haven't actually worn this one or washed it yet, I've just put it straight onto Dory. Okay, then once you have these two panels completed, that's where I'm going to go bye, I'll see you next week, and we can click through of course to the next video if you've purchased the pattern, or of course wait till the following week to grab the how-to on the sleeves. Now we are going to join these sleeves and work the sleeves as we go, so there will be no extra seaming involved for the sleeves. Once that's done, it is a case of finishing off the cheeky sleeves with the cheeky edging that I have here. Really lovely, really simple, and then of course neatening up the edges around the neck. Okay, so the stitches you are going to need to know today are how to do the foundation double crochet. Remember there are videos in the I button up the side there. We then have a double V stitch, again it's still double crochets. You're going to need to know how to chain and count to 3. Okay, and then of course when it comes to the sleeve we have got a shell stitch, and then we have the crab stitch, which I believe gives it a really beautiful finished edge. Okay, and then we will also be doing the crab stitch around the neck, but there is a little cheeky extra bit on that, but I will be telling you that of course, talking you through how to do that on the second video out of this set. And then once that's done, you'll be able to pop it in the wash and then wear it out. So remember, today's video is the front and the back panel. Sorry, my brain's shutting down now, so I'm going to stop talking. Hopefully you know what you're doing now and you've got your yarn, and if you want the written pattern, you've got the written pattern. And if you brought the written pattern and you're like, she is waffling, you should have seen the pattern before I cut it down without my waffling on. Right, come on, let's get on with the pattern. Right, so let's get started. We are going to place a slip knot on our hook. Then we are going to slip stitch 2. We are using the foundation double crochet method today, so we are going to hook over, pop our hook through the very first chain that we created, making sure that you get both parts of the chain. You're going to hook over, pull through 1, hook over, pull through 2, hook over and pull through the 2 remaining stitches on your hook. Then we're going to repeat the process. So let's hook over, pop your hook through both parts of the V that you've just created, pull up a loop, hook over, pull through 1, hook over, pull through 2, hook over, pull through 2. Okay, now you're going to keep doing that until you have the length of the chain that you need. Okay, so the amount of stitches that you need. If you need any more guidance on how to do this, please remember I do have another video on the channel showing it a lot closer up and easier for you to see. There is a link to that in the I button up the top. Okay, so you're going to keep going now, doing this until you have the desired amount. Now, personally for me, I have done 75 for my front panel because I'm a little on the rounded side. But to make adjustments to the pattern, all you need to do is take away or add 6, because this pattern is in multiples of 6. Make sure that once you have the chain length that you need, that you jot that number down, because you'll be needing to do a panel the same size for the back. But with the back panel, we have got a bit more room to play with. So if you need to add more stitches to your back panel, you will be able to do so in the second set, right, or in the second part of this video. Now I'm going to stop talking, I'm going to let you carry on doing this, and I will meet you back here once you have your chain of stitches done. So now it's time for row number 2. You're going to chain 1 and turn your work into the same place that the chain came out. Pop in a double crochet. Then we're going to add another double crochet in the stitch next door to it, and then a double crochet in the one next door. So in total you will have done 3 double crochets. Now on to our next set of the stitch. This is for the double V stitch. You're going to skip 1 and then place all into the same spot 2 double crochets, a chain 1 and 2 double crochets. Once done, it should look like this. Okay, so now let's work on to the next set. This is the repeat all the way through. You are going to skip 1 and then do a double crochet in the next 3 stitches. Then we're gonna skip a stitch and then do a V stitch, double V. So that is 2 double crochets, a chain 1 and 2 double crochets, all into the same spot. Sorry about that, dog started barking. Where was I? Oh yep, last double crochet into that spot. Okay, and then we skip a stitch and we repeat the pattern, which is 3 double crochets, 1 in each of the next 3 stitches. Skip a stitch and then place our double V stitch into this next placement, which is 2 double crochets, a chain 1 and 2 double crochets, all into that same spot. Then we skip a stitch and we repeat. Okay, so I think hopefully you have got that. I'm going to keep doing this on screen with a little bit of music so that you've got a visual there if you need it. So your pattern is a V stitch, which is a 2 double crochets, a chain 1, 2 double crochets, followed by a miss a stitch, and then 3 double crochets, 1 in each spot. Then you skip a stitch, then you repeat your V. Okay, I believe in you and I know you're going to be able to do it, but if you have an issue, there will of course be a timestamp in the description box that will take you back to the beginning of this section, so you can just repeat it if you need to. Now, so here we are coming up to the end of our row. What you need to make sure you've got is, of course, your double V stitch, which I'm just completing on screen now for you. Then once that is done, we skip one and then we place our 3 double crochet in. And now this row needs to end with those 3 double crochet. The last placement may be a little bit difficult to find, but of course you will be able to find it quite nicely. So there we go. Now for row number 3, this is our repeat row. You're going to chain 1, turn your work, place a double crochet into the second chain from your hook, a double crochet into the next stitch, and then your third and final into the one next door. Okay, so when you're done, you should have 3 double crochets sitting on top of 3 from the row below. Now we're going to work a double V stitch into the chain 1 space of the V stitch from the row below. If you need a reminder, that is 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets. Then we're going to skip over to the block of 3 double crochets and we're going to place a double crochet into the top of each of those stitches. And that is pretty much our pattern repeat all the way along. So into the top of the V stitch, the double V stitch, sorry, pop a double V stitch. Into the top of the double crochets, place a double crochet. And you will work that row all the way along. And then of course at the end we chain 1 and turn. And we're going to repeat that backwards and forwards until your panel is your desired length. Right, so here I am back with you. You have completed the front panel up to row 36, and depending on your size and measurements depends on how big this one is. So this is just a general explanation of how we move along to then add the sections that come up either side on our chest. Okay, so what we do is we take our pattern. As you can see here, we take our pattern and you count in and you find your divide line. So that is the line that is in the center of your panel. Okay, mine has luckily fallen on this cluster of 3 double crochets. So I've got the one in the middle, so that is my middle point. I'm going to mark that with a stitch marker. Then I'm going back to the pattern, and because of the way that my rows have ended up, I am starting on the left hand side for some reason. I might even have this round the wrong way. I don't know, I just laid it out on the quick. Okay, so I'm going to work my pattern and coming back towards this middle point. My last double crochet will end in this stitch. Okay, and I'm now going to make this panel going upwards following the written tutorial, the written pattern, sorry. When doing the decreases, we will be decreasing and just from this spot to the corner. So we're going that way one way and that way the other. There is no decreasing on your main edge. Right, so let's get on with this row. You chain one and turn your work. And you do this row as you have done all of the others, but I will meet you back here in a few moments when you get close to the stitch marker up here. Right, so here we are coming up to where your stitch marker is. Okay, you've completed the last double V stitch. I'm going to pop that, come down and pop in 2 double crochets. Okay, so that's 1 in each, and that includes where the stitch marker is. Okay, so and now I'm back with you for row number 2. For this one, you are going to chain 2. This chain now counts as a stitch. So you've done your chain 2, you're going to turn your work. You're going to place 1 double crochet into the next available double crochet spot, like that. We are going to then jump over to here. Now we need to remove 2 stitches each row. Okay, so the first 2 we are getting rid of are these 2. So it's the chain 1 that we've counted, and then we are going to place 2 double crochets into that little chain 1 spot. Now we're going to skip over and place, of course, our 3 double crochets as normal. Then we are going to carry on our pattern all the way along. Okay, so that is our normal standard pattern of the 3 double crochets, and then of course our double V stitch. When you get to the end, okay, we're going to chain 1, turn our work and carry on as normal until you get back to here. When you get back to this section here, come back to the video and I'll show you what to do at the end of the next row and the start of the one after that. Okay, so you're back at the end of row number 3. For this one, you've already done your 3 double crochets. You're going to place 1 double crochet into the top of the V stitch. Okay, so what's left of the V, you're going to run 1 there. You're going to skip this and pop a 1 in the last double crochet and 1 in the top of the chain 2. Okay, so then that will look like that. Now we're going to chain up 2, turn our work and work on to row number 4. So for this one, we are going to place our double crochet in our double crochet spot, that very first one. Remember, those 2 stitches are the same whether it be the first or the last. Okay, so now we're looking at our work. We've got these 4 double crochets here. We are going to skip the first 2 and we are going to place 1 double crochet in the last 2 spots. Then we're going to skip over to our double V stitch placement and pop in another double V stitch. And then of course carry the pattern all the way to the end, making sure when you get to the end you do your chain 1, your turn, and then you work your pattern all the way back, and I will meet you when you get to the top of this double V stitch. Right, so we are coming up to the end of row number 5. You've just completed your last
double V-stitch. Now if we have a look, we have got 2 stitches plus a chain to work through. So what I'm going to do is skip this first little side stitch, pop 1 double crochet into the top of those, and then I'm going to jump straight over with my double crochet into the last stitch and the double crochet into the top of the chain. Okay, so it should look something like this. Now we are going to chain 2 and turn, and we'll work on to row number 6. So again we are going to place the double crochet into the top of our double crochet placement. Now we are going to skip over to our V-stitch placement. We're going to pop a 1 stitch in there, a chain 1, and then 2 more stitches. Okay, so and that is what it will now look like. Then of course you've got it, we're going to carry on the pattern all the way and down, and then do our turn and come all the way back again, and I will meet you when you get to this set of chain 3 before your V-stitch placement. See you shortly. Okay, so we are now coming up to the end of row number 7. So we've got our 3 double crochets in their normal spot. In the V-stitch gap we are going to place 2 double crochets, but we're going to separate them with the slip stitch. So we're going to do a standard V-stitch. Okay, so it's double crochet, a chain 1, a double crochet. Then we're going to scoot over. We are going to place our double crochet in the last double crochet of the row, and then of course 1 in the top of our chain 2, she says, trying to get in him. Okay, so once you've done that, end of row 7 should look like this. Now for row 8 we are going to chain 2. We're going to turn our work and place a double crochet in the top of that first the second double crochet, sorry. Okay, so double crochet there as normal. Now we come over to our V-stitch here. We want to lose 2 stitches, so all we're going to do is place 1 double crochet in the gap between the 2 stitches, and we're going to hop straight over and place a double crochet in the top of each of the next 3 double crochets. All right, then of course you're going to carry your pattern all the way down the row, all the way back, and I will meet you here when you get to this last set of 3 double crochet. Okay, so here we are at the end of row number 9. You've completed the full V-stitch, double V-stitch, sorry. And we're now going to work into this section here. This is where you're going to now do 2 double crochets. Okay, we're going to skip the next 2 stitches and place double crochet in the last double crochet spot, and then another one in that last chain 2. So your work should look something like this. Now time for row number 10. You're going to chain up 2 as you normally do and turn your work. Place a double crochet in our normal double crochet spot. Okay, like that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to pretty much add a stitch in by doing a double crochet. So we'll skip a stitch, add a double crochet, and then scoot over and do our V-stitch. chain 1, and then carry on your row all the way down. Yes, I know that's not meant to be there, but if you don't do that one extra stitch, it makes it pull in too much. Okay, so at the end, the end of this little section, and this is what the beginning of row number 10 will look like. I will meet you at the end of row 11. So up and back, and I'll see you in a sec. Right, so here we are coming up on the end of a row number 11. Now for this one, we are skipping this whole section. So what we're going to do is going to be a bit cheeky here. We are going to actually finish off our V-stitch and then jump straight in and straight over with, of course, the double crochet above our first, and then a double crochet in our chain spot. And there we go. And of course this is how, oh, let me drop my knee a little bit, drop my leg. This is how it is now looking. So it does give you quite a nice V-shaped section. Now for row number 12, you're going to a chain 2, turn your work, pop in the double crochet, okay, scoot over, and at this point we are just going to place in a standard V-stitch. So we only need the 2 stitches in this one. Then we're going to skip over, of course, to our 3 double crochets. We're going to work all the way down this row and all the way up the next one. And yep, you guessed it, I'll meet you when you get to these 3 double crochet. We're coming to the end of row 13. You've done your 3 double crochets. You're going to place a 1 double crochet into the V-stitch. Then you are going to place a 1 double crochet in the normal spot, which is the last double crochet in the row, and then 1, of course, in the top of the chain 2. Panel A, row 14, recap. So you're going to start off with your chain 2 and your turn, then place a double crochet in the normal spot for our decrease section. You're then going to jump over and do 3 double crochets, then a V-stitch, your double V as normal, and then of course work your row as normal. Okay, so for the next 2 rows we are only working in single crochets. So chain 1, turn your work and place a single crochet into the very first stitch, top of first double crochet, top of the second and top of the third double crochet. Now pop a single crochet around the chain 1 space and another single crochet into the top of the single crochet from the row below. You're going to repeat that section all the way along. So that is a single crochet around the chain, a single crochet into the top of the 3 double crochets, and single crochet around the chain, single crochet into the top of the single crochet from the row before, single crochet into the top of the 3 double crochets, single crochet around the chain, single crochet into the top of the single crochet, single crochet around the chain, single crochet into the 3 double crochets, and we've reached the center section, so you're going to single crochet into the top of the last double crochet and single and leave it as that. Okay, so we're not worrying about the chain 2 anymore. You're then going to chain 1 and turn your work, place a single crochet into the top of the first stitch, and then work a single crochet all the way along the row. This is solely for where we will be, of course, joining this panel onto the back panel. So at this point I'm going to place a stitch marker in the end of my yarn because I'm working different balls for different areas, but of course you can carry on going, and we will now be working onto our back panel once this section is complete. So bind off, sew in all your ends, and you're good to go onto the next bit. Right, welcome back. So now we are going to start onto the second part of your top panel. Now what we're going to do is pop a single crochet on our hook, and we are going to do a standing double crochet. Let's move this up. Are we in focus? I believe so. Bonus. Right, so what you're going to do is you are going to place your first double crochet in the same hole, in the same hole as the last double crochet there. Okay, so you just go in and you do a double crochet as normal. Then we're going to place a double crochet in the next stitch along. Okay, so that means for that, just for this sole group of 3 double crochets, we're actually having 4, but in the big scheme of things it won't be noticeable. Right, so and now we move on to the next section of the pattern, which of course is our double V-stitch in the double V-stitch. And then all we're going to do now is work all the way to the end of the row, turn as we have done previously, and then of course work all the way back. I will meet you back here, okay, and when you get to this set of double crochets that I am just in the process of doing. So there we go. I will meet you when you get back to this set of stitches. Okay. Okay, so now I'm back with you. What we are doing is we are going to mirror image this set of stitches running up the side here. So what we need to do for row number 2 is place in 2 double crochets, chain 1, skip over to your double crochets, the 2 that are on their own, and then place a double crochet into the top of both of those. Okay, so that is the end of row number 2. Okay, so now we're on to row number 3. We are going to chain 2. From this point on, your chain 2 counts as a stitch. We are going to turn our work. You are going to place a double crochet in the top of the next double crochet. Then we are going to scoot over to our 2 double crochets that are in the V-stitch there, and we are, as I said, we are mirroring this side here, so I'll pop a double crochet between them. Then we are going to place 3 double crochet in the top of the 3 double crochets, and then carry on your pattern all the way along and then all the way back. And of course I will meet you when you get back to these 3 double crochets nearing the end of your work. Okay, so you are now coming up onto the end of row number 4. Oops, let's just strip that back. You have got to your last double V stitch, okay, and now we're working on to, of course, these are 3 double crochets. Now for this row we are only going to do 2 of those double crochets. Okay, and then we are going to skip the next 2 stitches and place a double crochet in the last stitch, and then of course the double crochet into the top of the chain 2. Okay, so and now we're going to move on to row number 5. Okay, now for row number 5 we're going to chain 2, turn our work and place a 1 double crochet into the top of the first completed double crochet, and then just there. Then we're going to place a 1 double crochet between these 2 double crochets. Now we're going to carry on with our pattern as normal. So that's a double V stitch followed by, of course, the 3 double crochets. Work your way all the way to the end and nearly all the way back, and I will meet you when you get to your double V stitch. Alright, so now we're coming up onto the end of row number 6. Now for our next set of stitches, or our last set I should say, we are working into our double V. Into the double V you are going to place 2 double crochets, chain 1 and 1 double crochet. Okay, so it looks like that. Then we are going to scoot straight over the rest of them and place a double crochet into the top of our last double crochet, and then a double crochet into the top of our chain. Okay, so it should look like that. Now for row number 7 we are going to chain 2, turn our work, place a double crochet in its normal place. Now we're working into the top of our V stitch. This time, our double V stitch. This time we are doing a standard V stitch, which is double crochet, a chain 1 and double crochet. Okay, so it will look like that, and then we jump over to the top of our set of 3 double crochets, and of course place in 3 double crochets. I'm going to leave you to work all the way along this row, turn and then come back again, and I will meet you when you have completed these 3 double crochets. Okay, so that's the last block of 3 double crochets before the edge of your work. Now we're back for row number 8. You will have done your 3 double crochets, and then we're going to place a 1 double crochet in our V stitch, 1 in that last double crochet, and then a 1 into the top of the chain 2. So it will look like that. Then I'm going to chain 1 and turn our work. Sorry, chain 2, turn your work. For row number 9 we're going to place 1 double crochet into the top of the first double crochet. We are going to skip 1 stitch, so we're skipping this one, okay, and then we're skipping the second one, and we are going to place a double crochet in the last 2 double crochet spots of that group of 3. Okay, technically there's our group of 3 there, so double crochet in the last of those. Then we're going to carry on our pattern all the way along, which is the normal pattern, and of course I'll leave you to turn and work your way all the way back, and I will meet you when you get to this double V stitch that I'm just creating now. I'll see you in a few moments. Right, so here we are, I'm back for row number 10. So for row number 10, it's lovely and easy. You do a double V stitch, and then you come in and you pop in a double crochet into the top of your first double crochet here. Then we scoot over, we skip 1, we double crochet into the next stitch, and of course double crochet into the top of our chain 2. Now for row 11, and chain 2, turn your work, place a double crochet in our normal spot. Then we are going to skip straight across and pop a double V stitch into the top of our double V stitch from the row below, and then we are going to carry on our normal V stitch 3 double crochet combination till you get to the end. And then you're going to turn, you're going to come all the way back, and I'll meet you back here when you get to the end of your 3 double crochets. See you in a bit. Right, so I'm back with you for the end of row number 12. Now we've got our 3 double crochets into the top of our previous ones. When it comes to doing our V-stitch section, we are just going to do a standard V-stitch for this pattern, which is the double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, and then we are going to scoot over and pop a double crochet into the top of the last double crochet in our row, and then another one into the chain 2. Okay, and now it's a case of chaining 2 and turning your work for row 13. Right, so let's get on with that double crochet in that first double crochet. Sorry if you can hear any noises, I've got Liam sitting by the side of me who's a dog, and he was just having a scratch. Right, we are then going to place a double crochet into the top of our V stitch, then scoot over to our 3 double crochets and add in the 3 double crochets, and then we carry on working this row as normal. You guessed it, last time mind, I will meet you when you get back to this set of 3 double crochets once you've gone all the way along the row, and then of course all the way back again. Right, so we're coming up on the end of row number 14. I've already completed my double V stitch. I'm now moving into my 3 double crochets. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we are skipping this stitch, we are jumping into the last double crochet in the row, and then of course that chain 2, and popping our double crochet into there. Okay, so it will look like that when you're finished. That's a case of chaining 2 and turning your work. Now if you have decided to add some more rows of decreases on to make of course your V a little bit wider, or your strap frontage a little bit thinner, make sure that you copy the same steps you've done, but just do the stitches of course in reverse so they're mirror imaged. For me, I am now going to stop here at my decreases, and it's time to do my last row, which will take my working yarn from my middle of my chest, now put it neatly, up to the edge of where the top of my arm is, or the armpit area. Okay, so follow along with me. I have my chain 2, I turn my work. I am now going to place a double crochet in that very first double crochet section, and then double crochet in the next 3, because what I plan to do here is to just straighten off this edge to make it neater for when we sew the seams. Okay, so I've done my 3 double crochets. Now I'm going to chain 1 and do a single crochet into the top of the V stitch, chain 1, skip over, okay, and of course do my 3 double crochets again, and that is a sequence all the way along for this row. So that is chain 1, skip to the V, single crochet, chain 1, skip to the 3 double crochets, chain 1, skip to the V, single crochet, a chain 1, and then end with 3 double crochets. Okay, so for the next 2 rows we are only working in single crochets. So chain 1, turn your work and place a single crochet into the very first stitch, top of first double crochet, top of the second and top of the 3rd double crochet. Now pop a single crochet around the chain 1 space and another single crochet into the top of the single crochet from the row below. You're going to repeat that section all the way along, so that is a single crochet around the chain, a single crochet into the top of the 3 double crochets, and single crochet around the chain, single crochet into the top of the single crochet from the row before, single crochet into the top of the 3 double crochets, single crochet around the chain, single crochet into the top of the single crochet, single crochet around the chain, single crochet into the 3 double crochets, and we've reached the center section, so you're going to single crochet into the top of the last double crochet and single and leave it as that. Okay, so we're not worrying about the chain 2 anymore. You're then going to chain 1 and turn your work, place a single crochet into the top of the first stitch, and then work a single crochet all the way along the row. This is solely for where we will be, of course, joining this panel onto the back panel. So at this point I'm going to place a stitch marker in the end of my yarn because I'm working different balls for different areas, but of course you can carry on going, and we will now be working onto our back panel once this section is complete. So bind off, sew in all your ends, and you're good to go onto the next bit. Right, so now it's time to work onto our back panel. Now, if you have modified the pattern in any way, shape or form, as in how many rows you've done, it's now a good idea to definitely count them from start to finish. Okay, so and now count your rows, omitting, in other words ignoring of course your first row and the 3 rows at the end. Okay, because you need to work on those in a little bit. Right, so you're going to count your rows and jot them down, or of course you've jotted them down on the pattern that you've purchased, and it's time to work on our back panel. Now the back panel is super duper easy. Let's start off with, of course, our very first set of rows, which was the foundation double crochet, and you need to do those in a stitch count the same width as your front panel. Okay, so the same amount of stitches as your front. Now if you find at this point in time that your front panel is a little bit on the small side, which happens to all of us, including me, it means that you can add some more onto the back panel, as this is just rows upon rows of double crochet. Okay, the extra stitches and the seam will of course be under your arm and running down the side of your body. So if you need a couple of extra stitches, don't worry too much, you can add them onto this section of the panel. Right, so as I said, you start off with doing your foundation row, okay, and then you are going to work rows upon rows of double crochet until this panel is the same height as your last panel. Okay, but we're not counting in the last 3 rows, which of course were our single crochet rows and our fix it row, as I like to call it. Okay, we're not counting the last 3 rows. Okay, so when finished, your panels should be sitting similar to the way that I've got mine back panel laid out at the moment. So it should sit something like that. Okay, just with a little bit of extra over the top. Do not clip off your yarn at this point. Come back to the video once you have completed your back panel. I'll see you soon. And just in case you need reminding on how to turn, you are going to chain 1, turn and place a double crochet into the same place where the chain came out. Okay, and then double crochet all the way along. Welcome back. So you have now completed the amount of rows to match the front on your back panel. Okay, so we are on to the very last 2 rows, which of course are single crochet. Just a chain 1, turn your work and a single crochet all the way to the end. Once you've done that, I'll meet you back here in a few moments. Okay, so here I am, I'm back at the end of the row. So now you have got 2 full rows of single crochet. Now is time for the fun bit. It's a time to join our panels together.
Okay, so after doing a little bit more editing, I realised that it would be easier if I left the joining of the 2 panels until next week, where we will join the 2 panels at the shoulder point and seam and add sleeves and do the cuffs and do the neck section. It sounds like a lot, but honestly that's the quickest bit is next week's. So I will see you all next week. Thank you ever so much for joining me today. Don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section down below if you're in fact doing this pattern as well, or if you've put it on your list to do later on in the year. Right, I'm going to head off now. I will see you all really soon. So please remember to stay chilled, stay happy and keep crafting. Goodbye everybody.